Hi, and welcome to Workflow from Home. My name is Michael, and you're watching a series dedicated to the exploration and investigation of different workflows for media and entertainment professionals and how it works in the cloud. On this episode, we have a very special guest, Rob Ash. Rob is the editor of The Conan O'Brien Show. And if you haven't noticed, Conan airs on TBS and it's been completely remote. This is a show that used to be with studio audiences and a large team and cameras and teams working together all in a studio-based system with roll-ins and cuts and other interstitials. But now it's being done completely remote. So here we are with Rob, understanding and exploring a workflow for late night's best show and how it can actually be done totally working from home. All right, thank you so much for being here, Rob Ash. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing and kind of give us an update as to what you're working on at the moment?
I've been the lead editor for Conan on TBS for the past 5 years, and I've been with the crew for about the past 10. And a couple of weeks ago, when all this madness in this world started, the emails started about, well, what if we start doing Conan show at home? How would we pull that off? So it's been a mad dash over the past couple weeks to get something going, try to do it smart, and try to do it to maintain our sanity and get a show on the air, no matter how we get it there, no matter what route or shortcuts we have to take.
It's incredible what you guys have pulled off. So essentially, in the process of pulling this off, can you describe a little bit of the evolution of like, when was it an idea, like, you know, someone must have whispered, can we even do this, to then it became real? What was that like, that arc for you?
So we started in the middle of March, and the press release went out. We said we wanted to do the show at home. And the first thing you start with was, well, what does that look like? You know, are we gonna try to pull off like a studio in a house? Are we going to try to recreate what we usually do in Burbank? And Conan was very specific in wanting something that felt authentic.
All right, I'm going to start by telling you two things. First, I'm coming to you from my home in Los Angeles. And number two, please do not worry about me. I'm fine. I'm perfectly healthy. This is just the way I look.
It's like, I'm at home. I want it to look like I'm at home. I want it to feel that way. So we started looking at all the tools we wanted to use to get it there. And quite a few people have a phone. Quite a few people have an iPad, a laptop. People are familiar with FaceTime, video chatting. And it's tools that, these days kids know how to use. So we wanted to stick with the tools that were simple to hopefully reflect in the final product of something that feels authentic.
It's interesting you use the word authentic because you're dealing with a show that's a live studio audience. And so the actual structure has always been authentic to a degree because the amount of interaction with people is paramount to how the show works and feels. And when we watch it at home, we sort of sense that relationship. So is that authentic approach now without an audience? How has that changed your approach to actually the creative execution?
You know, it's funny. We had a long conversation about that. Myself, Mike Sweeney, and my head writer. I'm sorry, I'm petting my dog right now. But I think we've done a pretty good job so far in finding the balance of that. Because a lot of the comedy pieces we've been doing so far have kind of pointed at that and laughed about it.
Oh, Conan.
Andy, yeah. Oh, good to see you, buddy.
For example, Conan just did a piece where he did a virtual tour of his house, just using technology built into Zoom, doing the virtual backgrounds. And he was just running it himself. And it's fun. It's low tech. The single biggest goal we had, and Conan talked about it on show 1, was we didn't want a show that was going to educate about what's going on in the world. We didn't want a show that was going to deep dive into science and politics and all that kind of stuff.
Let me assure you something. These shows we're going to do are going to tell you nothing. They will contain no information, none whatsoever. You'll probably be stupider after you see these shows than you were before. I'm just telling you up front.
We just wanted people to watch this and enjoy it. and be distracted for a little bit. And to me, and I've thought about this, I've been an editor for 20 years. To me, that's been like my most important goal. And that's why I continue to love sticking with this crew.
Yeah, that's amazing. What would you say, if you were to think about the actual toughest parts or the tricky parts, if someone was going to be transitioning into work from home, what would be the gotchas that you might give them hints to look out for?
I'm a father of 3, and because of this new world that we're in, I've had to do a lot more web conversations, conversations on Zoom, Google Hangouts, that sort of thing. And there definitely is a certain segment of the population that isn't used to kids coming in to interrupt something. I was on with some people who were waiting for me to show them something in a system, and I think my kid fell. And I think my kid fell and started yelling, and they're like, well, wait, can you just, I was like, no, I can't just show you. You can wait.
What you're saying is actually not so much a technology.
Absolutely.
You talked a little bit about bandwidth. I think we all know that. But you're talking about recalibrating relationships, professional and personal.
If I got to go be a dad, I'm going to go be a dad. That's the bottom line. That's why we built a workflow in place that if I got to pass something along, it's not going to hurt anybody. Our other editors, Matt, Chris Heller, they're both geniuses, so they can pick up the ball anytime. They do all the time. The interviews are hilarious. The segments are hilarious.
So what has been some of the technology that you've used? Can you take us a little behind the scenes of your process now that you are doing this completely quarantined?
So in the production process, we have a couple of different ways that we're doing it. So Conan is doing something that's very similar to a monologue, where he's sitting in front of his desk, he's talking to the camera. He's just shooting on his iPhone on a tripod. And when he's done, he uploads it to Frame.io. We get a notification. I'm sitting here in my kitchen. I download it, load it up into Act 1 with one of the producers and the head writer. We figure out the pools from Act 1, which is usually the monologue, a couple comedy segments, and usually some transitions in between. And then we have editors also in Studio City and in Malibu, and they're editing the guest segments and what we call the crash out, which is Act 4, where he just has his good nights. For the interviews themselves, they're being filmed on Zoom, just with the natural webcams and people's iPads and iPhones and stuff. Our workflow is a little different from all the other shows, as we don't have access to our original systems on the Warner Brothers lot. Footage gets uploaded to Frame.io for initial notes, and an editor gets assigned to the piece by our awesome post coordinator, Diane Harmon. All editing is in Premiere Pro 13.5.1. All the different versions of sequences and segments get run through Frame.io. All of our interviews are being run through Zoom. Zoom gives an option to record to a cloud and gives us downloadable links. We use single view and gallery view as a multicam of sorts. Oh, and our post genius, Rob Gage, figured out a way to recompile the show through Amazon Workspace virtual PC system with a Tesla card on it. We do it that way because everyone's internet kind of sucks right now, and we can get 1,000 megabits per second upload through this system. It gets uploaded back to Frame, and links get sent to a facility in New York, and they download it and feed the show through fiber to Atlanta.
When you take into account all the things that you've learned in this remote process and now literally building a show with virtually no notice and flipping a formula that you had really well down to something completely new, is there anything that you're experiencing that you might consider keeping after we're allowed to go back to work?
I feel like for a lot of positions, especially in a lot of positions that have a certain pressure of delivery, that there's this sense of, no, you can't work from home. You have to be here. Like, you got to get it done. Well, it's not true anymore.
What I think we've learned, what we've been taught, and what we're part of the problem, honestly, in the movie business, but what we've been taught is things are very binary. You're either at work doing the whole thing or you're not. And what we're learning right now is there's all this gray area, and we didn't know it was there. And we didn't get a chance to explore it before. And now with all this gray area, some people are finding that there's actually some attractive qualities to not being so binary with some of the physical, in-person stuff. Not to say we don't still need to be working in physical proximity, and there's benefits to that. Obviously, you have a studio audience and things like that are part of the core show.
Sure.
But like, you know, we are humans, we are people, we have families and friends, and things come up. And I think now what you're sort of saying is we've discovered a way that we don't have to actually be off all the way just because we're not physically present.
I mean, I already made the joke that, like, you know, can we get streaming boxes put into Warner Brothers when we get back, just to have them available. It was lovely. The other night when we were doing Act 1, my producer was in his backyard doing a puzzle, you know, while I, you know, set up and edit. And I'd be like, okay, check it out. I think it was actually quite a nice system because, I don't know, on the lot, they have to walk down 2 flights of stairs and, like, you know, cross 3 buildings to get to the post trailers. So it's it could be a hassle on their part too.
Kudos to you and your team, your creative team, your technology team. You guys are actually doing it, and we really appreciate it because at the end of the day, we need to consume things like humor almost more than anything. So it actually serves a huge purpose in our communities. And I think from a technology perspective, the fact that you guys moved on this head on, accepted the challenge, and successfully transitioned is really, really incredible. So thanks for being a Frame.io customer and letting us be a part of that journey as well.
Of course, and thank you for your guys' hard work because the service has been a lifesaver.